Yeah, I want to give a little bit of a different type of update on this silver update because it's I've been putting out a lot of different things about vibrational frequencies and things like. Um, I guess the whole entire universe is actually made up of energies more so than matter, even though we see things in a solid way. Like, in other words, if I pick this up, it's a solid, this is solid steel, but it's actually energies. Now, I just want to point out a couple things. I'm going to bring out a couple other things for after I bring out some of the initial things here. Now, we saw the price of palladium and platinum has gone up again, and I guess that's over tensions with Russia again because of the referendum that was predetermined at 89%, so that it could be an independent nation within Ukraine, and then they're going to request to become part of Russia. I'm like, yeah, whatever, It's getting ridiculous. Anyway, actually, if Vladimir Putin got himself a VW bus with a peace sign on it, and he was throwing flowers at Femin, the price of palladium would probably crash through the freaking floor along with platinum, because then the Russian tensions would sound, Vladimir Putin took a whole new leaf there, became a hippie, and he's a peacemonger instead of a warmonger or whatever. And I guess, it's psychology is a lot with the markets. Now, they say that with the equities markets, there's other people, I know they've been in a long bull run now, and, it's hit record heights and all this type of stuff, but they say the actual bear market won't start until they really start raising short-term interest rates. And, that makes a lot of sense, because then there's financial incentive for somebody to move the money out of the equities and say, well, I get a better return over here, and it's a safe return, right? It's a safe return. That's something Mark Farber's talked about. I mean, the interest rates kind of went up for a while, then they went down, and, if they start getting up to a little higher than they've been, that would give people impetus to get out of this market, and that could bring the markets down and bring us into a bear market. But that's not, that has nothing to do with the gold and silver people. Now, actually, I want to get onto a little bit of a hodgepodge of things on this. Actually, one thing I've been kind of critical of is, I read the alternative media and I read the major media. I read both, right? I don't actually read like CNBC or things like that. I maybe very quickly, but I'll see what's on Reuters and Financial Times and things like that, and Forbes, and look at what's in there. I mean, maybe you say that's the major media, but it's far more responsible than some of the blurbs you get out on the big channels, right, on the major media channels. But the other side of it, I have to say this about, and this relates to the vibrational frequencies and stuff, because the alternative media, man, I swear, it's like, even if they're being truthful, they are pushing constant fear. And it's like, if you're fearful of something, you don't want to be like having this attitude. You got to recognize the problem and go for the solution. Now, in my mind, the solution is physical metals, because, I don't know, I just can't see how the paper money's going to go forever with all the U.S. debt, okay? So, I mean, that's why a lot of people are into physical metals. But these guys, like, when you're pushing this fear stuff, you could actually create the situation and make it worse. It's almost like if I'm riding down the road on my motorcycle or something like that, and a box falls off a truck. And I'm like, I'm like, whoa, a box fell off the truck, and it's like right in front of me. If I get like fixed on, the box is there, and I'm looking at the box in the road, I'm gonna slam right into it, right? But I gotta think, a box is on a freaking road. I gotta take action. I gotta swerve, right? So the positive action is to go around it or break your ass off and try to freaking maybe stop before you slam into it. Or maybe brake, then swerve, right? That'd probably be the better thing, But, you got to take positive action. See, these guys are, like, constantly like, the freaking sky is full and the Illuminati's after us, it's hopeless and all this kind of garbage. Actually, I'm going to tell you this. Like, you heard that Beach Boys song, Good Vibrations. People used to love that song back then. They probably love it today, right? But it's a reason for that, because when you hear that song, you're thinking about sunlight, the beach, bikinis, ocean, waves, and all this other stuff. And you got this picture in your mind like, oh, happy thoughts, right? And it feels good to listen to that song. You know, when these guys out there with this freaking doom and gloom stuff, they're like, they're creating a situation that's not cool, you know? Now, I want to kind of ad-lib on a couple of things out here, maybe of points of interest, because, I've been pointing out a lot of stuff about vibrations, frequencies, and things like that. You know, I don't know, like, how powerful this stuff is, but there is a science to it. It's not a placebo. It could be placebo, but then again, placebo is also your attitude, If you feel like you're going to get better, the placebo works, right? So maybe it works that way. But, there's actual things in nature, in foods, and actually even in the metals maybe, that give off vibrations. I'll give you a little bit of a link between, say, silver, a type of silver, a type of sterling silver, and aloe vera. Aloe vera, actually heard about the herb aloe vera. It's been known as an ancient healer going all the way back thousands of years, even before the Greeks. Alexander the Great actually captured an island with aloe vera plant on it because, it was so vital to his troops, right, for healing. And actually what's in the aloe vera that supposedly is the thing that really heals is the germanium, organic germanium, and it's got a vibrational frequency or something that helps heal the body. Now, it's absolutely a fact that there's different levels of frequency in the body that, you can be healthier and less healthy and all this kind of garbage as your cellular frequency goes down. But what I found interesting, where that's kind of linked up with this new type of silver called argentium silver, which is still true to sterling silver, is that instead of having copper in it, it has the metallic germanium. Not the organic, but the metallic germanium. And it never tarnishes, basically. It never tarnishes. But, it almost makes me think that maybe this thing actually has some kind of wild healing properties to it just by having it. Who the hell knows? Because sometimes, everything out there gives out some type of frequency. It might bring you some kind of good positive vibrations that you don't even think about. And, that might be something to do with the silver itself. It's been known as a healer. So, just want to point out some of these little bit, like, different types of facts about some things that, because people are in the metals sometimes, I really can't stand, well, I don't want to knock it too much, but these guys are like, they're creating a situation by the way they present stuff, constant fear all the time, that it's actually going to be a bad situation. They're going to make a bad situation. It's not cool. It's not cool. You got silver because you want to, transgress through the next phase of the financial system. If there's going to be a major reset, or there's going to be a problem with all this debt and all this garbage that they're piling on all the nations and things, that they're not going to be able to dig them way out of it. You're just going back to the old school methods of having physical metals. And you will transgress when this happens. Now, obviously, sometimes people are very negative. They're like, you didn't make any money on it just yet. But, that's not the whole point, because when it happens all at once. It's almost like waiting for the storm that passed, the storm to happen, or the big snowstorm, the big ice storm, the tornado, or whatever, or the deluge. And when it happens, you're prepared. It doesn't happen in a long period of time. It happens all at once. When it happens all at once, you're prepared. That's the whole thing. But the whole idea of this is to have a positive attitude, and that you will transgress to the next financial system in safety. That's the whole thing. Actually, I want to point out a couple things on a personal note. My mom is in Italy right now, and she went to the town where my grandmother was born, and I don't want to say the names and all this kind of crap because that's too personal, but it was kind of interesting because my great-grandfather was actually the son of a duke in England, right? And it was kind of a weird historical thing that my great-uncle was born in the UK, in London, near Big Ben, and then my grandmother was born, and my mother's mother was born in Italy, after him because they went to England. They went back and forth to Italy to England a couple times in London. And, well, it was interesting because she went down there and this is kind of like vibrations, I guess. You might want to talk about this because she went there and she told him the story, and she's there with family, and she told him the story of, what happened. And the police gave him like an escort. They had a 6'5" Italian guy, policeman, give him a tour of the city. He went to the Hall of Records, and they found a name, and they're going to give information out on it. So they'll probably shed a little more light as to, what happened way back when. Because I know the historical records say various things. Because actually, he actually turned out the guy. It was my great grandfather. He actually turned out to own a whole block in Bayonne, and there's like all kinds of weird shit going on. I used to know it was Tippy Larkin, who was a famous boxer. Used to know the family. He was also known as the Garfield Bomber and stuff. But it was kind of weird that go back to Italy. There's that link all of a sudden, and it's like all these time passes and it's like the same thing. It's like nothing passed. Very friendly people. But anyway, I just want to point out that it's good vibrations will account for a lot as to your outlook and how well you do on a lot of different things because people sometimes are pushing. Well, I can't say you can't ignore the money angle of things. You got to see reality. But it's like you will, if you are constantly pushing this fear notion that the sky is going to fall every freaking 2 seconds or the Illuminati's out to get you and all this kind of garbage, you're going to actually create the situation itself. Now, I also want to point out something else here at the end about some of this Illuminati stuff, because what's going on with them, actually, they created a lot of problems in the earth. They created, like in other words, there's probably in existence free energy and all this kind of garbage, that Nikola Tesla developed many years ago. But, it won't be released. But they are actually positioning themselves as kind of the enlightened ones, the Illuminati, where the biggest, most powerful families on this earth are actually kind of presenting themselves as going to be a solution for the problem, but at the same time they created the whole damn problem in the first place, and profited by it. I had something out on, I still have it out on the Rothschilds on my channel, and actually it turned out to be my most popular video, which I was kind of semi-surprised about, but not totally. But actually, I want to point out something, because there's a lot of anti-Semitism out there. People seem to gravitate to anything that's related to the Rothschilds and things. Actually, I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of power beyond the Rothschilds, and I don't want to say nothing about it. I don't want to put nothing out on this. I don't want to. I know some stuff, and I think I know some stuff. Maybe I'm not 100% sure of it, but there's stuff out there that's far more powerful than the Rothschilds and some of the anti-Semitic theories that are out there left and right. I notice on the internet, people seem to gravitate to that, like, it's like they just go right to it. They just go right to it. It's become a common belief now. And actually what usually is the common belief is not the correct belief. Usually the majority gets it wrong in many respects. But I just want to point out again that your positive attitude is going to have a lot to do with how well things go. I know the major media is painting that we are on the verge of a new resurgence in the economy and everything's going to go ahead really great. I don't buy that garbage at all. It's not because I'm being negative, it's because I'm being realistic. But on the other side of it, you also have the alternative media are constantly freaking only emphasizing the negative. And, it's there is a lot of technologies out there that can save us big time. I just hope that they get in the hands of the common people. And, I've been putting out a lot about this possible method of improving your health through using a Spooky 2 Rife machine. It's cheap. I didn't develop it. I just saw this and I think it's a fantastic idea. I don't have any association with it or anything like that. But it's like, if the economy goes down on one side, you might be able to, be better or healthier or more positive, and on the flip side. So that's what I'm pointing out here, because it's like people that are too focused in on strictly money. And actually, I can tell you this right now: a lot of the people that are the most successful people in the world, they are not super focused in on money as you think they are. They actually have a vision. And with that dream and that vision and what they like to do, the money seems to follow. And that's really how it works out. And some of the people that are totally focused in on money, it turns out that money is, even if they get the money happens to be the only thing that they have. They'll have a really screwed up family and everything else. They'll have a gazillion problems in every other sector going, from health to family, the whole deal. So your wealth should not just be measured in money only. So I want to point that out. And again, we're going to be probably going through some tumultuous times here, and I don't want the giddy-minded alternative media to push out all kinds of negativity, because the fact that you have physical metals in silver is going to save your ass when we go to the next financial strata or the next financial plan. It is going to save your ass. It's going to be a storm that's going to happen in a short period of time, and you will weather the storm. It's not doing nothing now. It's not that type of investment. It's not a percentage investment where you get a certain percentage every day. It's not that type of investment. And just keep that in mind. But there's a lot of other aspects to silver too, besides just the monetary value of it. And I've actually found it interesting that there's germanium, metallic germanium, that is in argentium silver, sterling silver, that new type that's out, that has been developed. Who the hell knows? Maybe it even has some kind of unknown healing properties, because it's actually organic germanium and aloe vera that is what gives it the main healing properties in aloe vera, and it gives off a certain vibrational frequency. Who the hell knows? I'm not sure, but that theory would have to be tested. But it's more uses for the metal. Actually, if the people that were investing in silver were smart, they would be pushing this argentium silver jewelry like crazy, because first off, it's what they got now. They got like these tiny little chains. They don't have like thick chains like this. They got these tiny little chains. They don't have that much. They don't have like big rings like this. They got like small stuff. And to actually get it out where there's a lot of great demand for production of silver, they need to get this out in larger size jewelry. Also want to add something else on here. I know this has gone long, but actually this will be a point of interest too. I've seen articles on that the price of silver, the cost of mining has dropped. Now, it's disinformation in a lot of ways, and I'll tell you why that's so. I'm making a long video here, but I could have made 3 videos or some crap. But let me point this out to you, why it's disinformation, that the cost of silver mining has dropped. It's because they cut out a lot of new capital expenditures, they cut off a lot of overhead, and are just mining the existing, already proven areas. And that's why the cost has actually dropped. So it did drop in a way. But the problem is with that, as those areas become exhausted and they have to go into new areas to get more silver, like the Earth has plenty of silver, but see, this is where the cost is going to go way the hell up again. If they have to go, once those areas start becoming depleted slowly but surely, they'll have to go find more silver. That's requiring big capital investment, long-term planning, environmental studies, impact studies on the roads, even cultural studies, all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's like water impact studies. Where are they going to get the energy from to mine it, and all this kind of garbage. See, that's when it's like you have to start up a whole new factory, more or less, another mine. You're not going to be able to do it, and then the cost of silver is going to go right up through the roof. See, the cost of silver has actually dropped because they're cutting back all the non-essentials. They're not doing any more capital investment, and you've seen this a lot with the gold miners too. They shut down a lot of projects across the world because of the price of the gold. Now, once these supplies get used up that are being mined currently, and they got to go find new stuff, the cost of mining is going to go through the stratosphere. So keep that in mind, because what I'm telling you there is an absolute fact. It's not conjecture. It's not theory. It's an absolute fact. So for the time being, they can keep the cost down. Once they run out of these ores and they got to go to new areas, forget about it. It's going right. The cost of mining is going right through the stratosphere, and the price is going to have to follow. So keep that in mind also. But also keep a positive attitude, because silver is to protect you in the storm and to get to the next phase that we're going to go in the financial system. Doom and gloomers are actually counterproductive. You see the problem. You recognize the problem. I'm not saying you don't put your head in a hole and say, "Oh, the problem's not there." I know the problem's there, but like I said, you don't want to be fixated on a problem all the time. You want to go to the solution and go around the problem, or whatever, make that solution work.